Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
811 is the number to call before you dig. 811 will help avoid fines, knocking out utility service, even injury. So call 811 before you dig.
And James Limousine, driven to serve Richmond for 22 years. JamesLimousine.com, 804-273-1540.
Pitch to Duffy, driven to deep right center field. He'll pull into third with a triple. Flashed into left field. Duffy's got it. The shovel to Tomlinson. Relay on to first and Pesa. Swung on and missed. Speared by Blackburn. Parker galloping in. Will slide and make the catch. Hello and welcome to another episode of Flying Squirrels Insider. John Laser, Wes McElroy, Jay Burnham. We get their thoughts on what has been a topsy-turvy, to say the least, beginning to this 2015 season in just a second. But first, we welcome our buddy, guys. Utility Buddy from the City of Richmond Department of Public Utilities. Utility Buddy is instrumental in conveying safety messages about natural gas, stormwater drainage, and calling 811 before you dig. To learn more information, visit richmondgov.com/DPU or call 646-7000. While I'm doling out numbers, also text FSI to 63975 during the course of this show. Jay Burnham is going to personally put together a Flying Squirrels prize pack for you. Speaking of utilities, utility man, super utility man, Myles Schroder is going to be with us today. He's going to explain why he has to carry so much equipment, and it is the worldwide musical debut of a little ditty we like to call Biagini in a bottle. Jay, that's not the weirdest thing that we've done with this team thus far this year. For a while, we were down. We didn't feel like we could beat anybody. For a while, we felt invincible. We didn't think anybody could beat us. What in the world is going on?
Yeah, those 15 consecutive losses sure stung in April. And Murphy's Law took over for the Squirrels during that stretch. They've turned things around. They've won 7 of 8. Maybe it was the threat of our boss and VP COO Todd Parney-Parnell not showering until the Squirrels would win another game. But they're starting to play a much better brand of baseball. I believe it begins with the defense. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but defensively, Tomlinson, Delfino, the shortstop and third baseman have really played well behind the ground ball style pitchers that the Squirrels have out there, and I think that's been the key so far.
Well, I would jump in and correct you if you were wrong, but you're actually right in this case. So we're gonna, yeah, exactly. I'm batting 1,000 when it comes to that. Wes, same question to you. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing hitting, and for him talking about Murphy's Law, there's the old law of Newton. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And they're hitting the ball, and you're seeing the hits that used to not go their way. Ricky Oropesa bouncing them off the pitchers. A month ago, that goes right to the shortstop. This one, out of play, Ricky's getting on first base. And talking to Kenny Joyce the other day, you're seeing guys starting to get in their groove. When they go to spring training, and Kenny was telling me about this, you get so many guys, and your skills and your drills almost become routine. They become busy work. That was Kenny's words, not mine. You get in April, you work with these guys, in May it starts to click. They're starting to hit.
Well, we've seen, again, and baseball is like this. You go on a streak, like I said, you feel like you can't beat anybody, then you feel like you can't be beaten. We know what this team has been through the first month. What is this team going to be going forward is what I want to know.
I think they're going to be good if they can keep this pitching rotation together. You got Kelvin Marte. Kyle Crick's going to come back here. Jack Snodgrass in his last outing looked fantastic. Mr. Music Video himself, Biagini, is really working his stuff right now. Now, they're starting to hit. That's an up and down thing. But the pitching, if it can stay consistent, and we don't know, the thing with the minor leagues, injuries, trades happen, guys get caught up. If the pitching staff can stay together, this has got a solid core going into the rest of the summer.
Jay, however, with that said, this team was 14 games under 500, 11 and a half games back. They've started to climb out of that hole. It's really early, but is it too big of a hole?
I don't think so. You know, call me an optimist. If the 15-game losing streak happened in June, you'd be done. But I think when you look at how the Squirrels are structured compared to some of the other teams, look, 7 out of their last 8 wins have been against top-tier talent within the Western and Eastern Division. So they've been able to knock off some of the better teams in the league. They have yet to play some of the bottom feeders within the Western Division. So I think if they can try to get back to 500 around the All-Star break, you certainly then have poised yourself to take off from there. And you forget that some of these younger teams teams in the league that have gotten off the hot starts, they're going to lose a lot of their players come second half of the season.
Without question, and Richmond has won 7 of 8. I think they've also seen some stronger competition thus far, although we haven't seen everybody in the league at this point. We had some fun with Joe Biagini, and he is a fun guy, a very funny guy. We're going to see that here today on FSI with Biagini in a bottle. Seriously, stick around for that, folks. You do not want to miss this. But, Jay, he's been having fun on the mound as well. He's come up here with no fear. What makes him so good?
Not intimidated, able to throw inside. You and I have talked about it and chronicled it on the broadcast for the Flying Squirrels. He's been able to pitch off the fastball, which sits in the low 90s, has a pretty decent breaking pitch and a changeup. And so for Biagini to be able to come up here, not be intimidated by the AA hitters, and also being able to work with Jackson Williams and working in these pitch sequences at this level, I think have been huge for him. He's a guy I'm really excited about seeing going forward.
And he was a guy that the Giants say is developing more and more confidence to recognize how good he is, and I think Jackson Williams has really been a big help when it comes to that. Somebody that we knew was already confident he could get results, Wes, in this league, Kelvin Marte, Mr. Consistency, and that's what we've seen thus far.
He has solidified this rotation. Here's a guy, for all the talk going into Major League Baseball season about, picking up the pace of play, we don't realize the benefits it has for the pitcher and the rest of your teammates. We look at a guy like Mark Burley. Kelvin Marte works quick. He trusts his stuff, and he's working batters. And when you work batters that quick, it throws batters off their game. You give batters more time to work, that's a benefit to them. Kelvin doesn't give that to him. He's throwing strikes. His last outing, 65 pitches, 39 were strikes. He's hitting his spots, and he's trusting the guys. He's trusting using the diamond. He's trusting using his infielders. He has been fantastic here at the start.
Wes talks about rhythm, Jay, and when you have that rhythm, it not only knocks the opposition hitters off their game, it helps your whole team starting on the defensive side.
Yeah, absolutely, and to what Marte has been able to do, and he did it last year too, just allowing the opposition to put the ball in play. That's something to Jack Snodgrass's strength as well. You mentioned the diamond, being able to hold the baseball within the confines has certainly helped, but you're right, the defense has been more up on their toes. They've been ready to defend. I think there was times early on in the season when there was a little bit sluggish.
We saw Jack Snodgrass. Speaking of him, he was back to his old self last night. Jay is your boy all the way back.
He's getting there. 6 innings, last night, 3 runs. He called that a quality start. He had a fantastic outing last week in Altoona. Snodgrass returning to Snodgrass form certainly means this team can compete.
Wes, Kyle Crick, as we continue to mow through this rotation, he has really opened some eyes, not just here in Richmond, but all across baseball, as he has looked a lot closer to that prospect that he was supposed to be coming up here last year. But he did miss his last start, minor wrist injury. Does that knock him off course?
If this was the Kyle Crick from last year that we were talking about, I may be more concerned. But he started to trust his stuff. He's been a quick learner this year, and he's really come around. He's hitting his spots. If we're talking about Kyle Crick of 2014, I'm a little bit worried. I think he'll bounce back. I think what he's learned, he'll keep.
Speaking of bouncing back, let's bounce to the bullpen, Jay. Josh Osich, we've seen him for a couple of years. We saw him come up, and he was splendid back in 2013, up and down last year. He's been injured. Thus far, he's out there 3 consecutive days, 5 saves in a week. He's doing it all.
This is a big year for Josh Osich, and I think he recognizes that. The velocity is back for Osich, 94 miles an hour coming out last night, pumping strikes within the zone. Let's not forget this guy was rumored to be a first-round pick back in 2010 before the Tommy John surgery. Came out as a 6th-round pick for the San Francisco Giants in 2011. I like the way he's not just relying on that fastball this year, mixing in some new options, throwing that changeup, which has been devastating at times. If he's able to be that late inning pitcher for the Flying Squirrels, we saw him in the 8th inning last night. He's been able to secure those closes and wins in the 9th inning. I like what Osich has been able to do so far.
Yeah, we saw him in the 8th inning last night, and then we saw Yohan Gregorio dominate and pick up the save in the series opener against the Binghamton Mets. All right, guys, pitching actually thriving at the moment for the Flying Squirrels. Let's talk offense. Jay, Ricky Oropesa, another home run on this homestand. He had an outstanding road trip through New Britain and Altoona. Is it finally clicking for the big guy?
Man, we hope so. This is the 3rd year that we've seen Oropesa. The home run you mentioned last night was worth 2 home runs. That's how long it was hit for Oropesa. He's starting to go the opposite way a little bit more. I think we still see 1 or 2 too many ground outs to the right side of the infield, but it appears as though he's at least squaring the baseball up, hitting it harder, and as Wes mentioned earlier, driving the baseball back through the middle. I hope this is his season.
Wes, Mac Williamson, he has quietly weathered the first month, no pun intended with the weather. We talk about that all the time in the Eastern League, and he sits pretty consistently right now in the middle of that Squirrels offense. I think he's about to take off. I defy you to disagree with me.
No, and here's why. Because Mac is the exact opposite. He's the flip side of what we were talking about, guys coming in from April, not getting to their adjustments. Mac came in good. Problem was, Kenny Joyce told me towards the end of April, early part of May, he got pool happy. He was trying to do too much. He was trying to pull the ball. He went back to basics. He's swinging through the ball. He's going to stick to what works. And, yeah, he's going to take off.
Yeah, I think he is as well. We've seen him absolutely smash a couple of extra base hits and a couple more into the wind. These guys are starting to figure out how to hit at the diamond during this homestand. It has been brutal for the offensive guys with the wind pretty consistently blowing either straight in or in from right center field. Jay, we snap topics. Javier Herrera, what's going on there?
Javier Herrera missed the entirety of last year for the most part with Tommy John surgery. Here's a guy that has come back from injury time and time again throughout his career. Let's hope he can do it again.
And I think we're starting to see that as well from Javier Herrera. He had a couple of good swings the other night, able to wait back on the breaking ball. We're waiting for him to catch up to that fastball right now for Javier Herrera, and he's searching a little bit. Devin Harris, we've seen search west at times throughout his time here in Richmond, but if the last week is any indication, he's seeing the fastball right now, maybe better than anybody else in this lineup.
Seeing the fastball, not thinking about it too much. He was more mental, not trusting his swing. And you look at a guy here, you can do too much sometimes. He just needs to trust in what he's got. And here's a good sign. You mentioned about teams that we haven't faced yet before. Squirrels are going to start seeing some American League teams get him in the rotation and line up more.
This entire upcoming road trip will actually be American League teams. Last night's series opener against Binghamton was the 19th game already for this Flying Squirrels club against a National League team. They're not swinging it all that well, the pitchers right now, but we don't need to break that down. Of course, that's not the biggest developmental carrot. But Myles Schroder, Jay, he's going to be with us here on FSI Field a little later, explaining all the different places he plays. Giants told us they thought he was going to be a spark plug type guy, a catalyst type guy, and he has been.
Absolutely. Schroeder actually had an RBI triple to give the Squirrels the lead last night. He's able to come in and play multiple positions, and we've already learned Jose Aguasil, the Squirrels manager for 2015, loves to move guys around late in ball games, and Schroeder has been a key piece for him.
And briefly, Wes, Kelby Tomlinson has sometimes shifted to second for Rando Moreno. When Schroeder plays second, he plays short. Either way, with Schroeder there, the middle infield defense much better.
Much more secure. Both these guys know they played with each other before. They can feed off each other.
And Jay, we wrap up our individual comments on players here today. Kelby Tomlinson driving the ball with authority.
Just absolutely mashing the ball. Tomlinson lighting it up, and at the top of the order, not really where you want your production guy, but he's been there for the entirety of the season. So
the Squirrels lost 15 in a row. Frown face. Then they've won 7 of 8 as we sit here today. Smiley emoji, which we're going to start working in to FSI as well. We're off the rails, though, when we come back. Biagini in a bottle, and you are not going to want to miss this. It is a musical first here on Flying Squirrels Insider, and more than likely a last as well. Later on down the road, James Limousine, Luxury Player of the Week, Myles Schroder is with us. Don't forget to text FSI to 63975 to win that Flying Squirrel stuff. FSI continues.
Ooh, I feel like he's been locked up tight for 2 decades of Cali nights, waiting for someone to draft him. He's licking his lips and blowing kisses away, all of them to fans on start day. Baby, 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 baby. Oh, oh, oh. His body's saying, let's go. Oh, 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 this is all you need to know. If you wanna be with Beach, baby, there's a price to pay. He'd be a genie in a bottle. You gotta come on his start day. If you wanna be like Beach, he's trying to make his dreams come true. He's gotta make a big impression, baby, at the diamond for you. He's a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta rub him the right way, honey. He's be a genie in a bottle, baby. Come on in, let him out. His walkout's fading and his warm-up's all low. Just one more pitch and then he's good to go. Waiting for someone to face him. Hormones racing at the speed of light, but that just means he's gonna deal tonight. Baby, 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 baby. He's gonna make a big impression.
Bill, what are you doing? I'm not even drawing today.
Welcome back to Flying Squirrels Insider. What a treat that was. Be a genie in a bottle, indeed. Myles Schroder joins us now, our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week here on FSI Field. Schrodes, thanks for being here, my friend.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Took a little while longer than you had wanted to get back here to Richmond, where, of course, you were all year last year, and it took a little while longer than this team would have liked. But you're here now. You're playing well. How are you feeling?
I feel good. Just glad to be here and be able to contribute and help these guys win.
I know I talked to a number of Giants folks, and they said Myles is going to bring the energy, and you do. Is that something that you're conscious of, that your style of play has to lead this team at times? I'm
not sure if I need to, lead them, or I just go out and I like to lead by example instead of, I like to talk to the guys more one-on-one instead of giving speeches or stuff like that. But I just go out and play my game, and just hopefully, some of the guys pick up on it and try and do the same.
How frustrating was that sitting in Scottsdale, Arizona, while this team was struggling?
It was very frustrating. I was sitting in a hotel room, and I would pull up your guys' radio show on my iPad and just listen to it in the room, and it was. I mean, when you go through stretches like that, I'm sure they just felt like nothing can go their way, and you kind of listening on the other end was pretty frustrating. You wanted to get there and help them out and turn things around. So.
But you're here now, and we're later on here when we kick out these chairs and get active on FSI Field, we're going to see all the different gloves and equipment that a super utility player like Myles has to bring to the ballpark each and every day. And I want to get your thoughts on that. But one thing that you're more than likely not going to be using is your catching mitt, at least anytime soon, as the Giants have, it seems like, taken that away.
Yeah, I mean, I like catching more than anything, but I like to stay active, and you're in every pitch, and you're not standing around or waiting for a ball. You know that you're getting the ball every time, and everything's in your hands, and I like that part about it. But I mean, we got good catchers, veteran guys that have been around, and Jackson Williams, and he's been around for a long time. So to have guys like that, and Arnold and Zambrano, and I mean, we got a pretty good group, so I don't mind going in the field and helping out that way.
And you do help out. You've played a lot of second base, actually, since you've been here. Blake Miller down on the disabled list right now. You've built up a pretty good rapport with Kelby Tomlinson up the middle, haven't you?
Yeah, we've played with each other for, I want to say, about 5 years. Every year we're with each other, and we're roommates on the road, and our wives are very good friends, and it's just fun playing with guys that you've been there for a while and built relationships with, and that's what makes the game fun. It's more kind of friend, family type that you push for each other, and you try and do your best to help each other out.
And then last night we see you move over to third base. You had no trouble over there. Can you explain how difficult that is to see the ball at those different angles?
I like the third base a lot, because there's no if you're up the middle, you have to move your feet a lot and come in on the ball, or different angles, or get to here, or if the ball's hit to center field, you got to go here. Third base is kind of more of a reaction thing, which is another thing I like. You see the ball and go get it, and if it's hit hard, I just body it up and let my arm take over, and makes it a little bit easier for me over there. But I've definitely playing a lot more second base has been a lot easier now, because obviously the more reps you get, the easier it gets. So.
Speaking of reps, you got a lot more in the outfield, and to me, you look a lot more comfortable out there this year. Are you feeling more comfortable?
Yeah. I signed as a center fielder in college, and I love center field as another position where you go and just run it down and get it, and you don't have the angles like you do in left field or right field. And I wasn't so much, I had a few errors out there last year, but it wasn't so much, errors. It was just, certain little things where instead of just catching the ball and then throwing it, I wanted to do both at the same time, and, try and hose the runner and stuff. So just simplifying things and just catching it before you throw it just makes things a lot easier. So.
Well, we're going to go inside Myles' equipment bag. As you just heard, he plays center, he plays left, he could play right, certainly. He's pitched, he's caught, he's played every infield position for the Flying Squirrels. That means you need a lot of gear. We, like I say, go inside Myles' bag when FSI continues. All right, here we are back on FSI Field with our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week, Myles Schroder, super utility man. As you can see, I have Myles' catcher's mitt right now because the Giants have taken that away. Myles, that's for good reason, though. They want you to stay healthy because they realize your value. You can play all over the field, and we're about to show folks what he needs to do that. You've primarily been playing second base, and we start right here with this Rawlings model glove. I'll have you pick that up here because I want to show folks here this glove that you've been using at second base. Now, a lot of people don't realize that this glove is very small, actually. Why is that the case?
Yeah, it's just when you're in the middle infield, you're turning double plays, you're trying to get the ball out of your mitt really quick. So in the middle infield, I'll grab it regular, and that way I don't really close it as much, only on maybe a backhand that I'm going to first or something, but you want to turn in a double play, you want to get the ball out of it quick. So I don't want to close it. I want to be able to get to the ball as quick as possible.
Now, the third base mitt here, we'll toss that one aside. Big Millsy won't be offended. As we grab this glove, this is the one you were using last night when you played third base, just a little bit bigger. How come?
Yeah, because, you know, the ball's coming at you a little bit harder, and, you know, balls down the line or in the hole, that you want to be able to close it, so because the ball is going to get to you a little bit quicker compared to second base or shortstop, so you're going to have a little bit more time to get it out of your mitt and get it over to those guys that turn double plays. So you pretty much just want to just catch the ball and let your arm take over. So
moving right along as we talk here and go inside the equipment bag of Myles Schroder. This is the outfield glove. Now, in these National League games, by the way, Myles might wind up using one or all these gloves on the same night. This one's even a bit larger still.
Yeah. You know, out there the ball's flying and you're running back on it. You're coming in, diving at it. You know, if you get just a little bit late of a break, you're going to want to have a little bit more room to make up for that late break that you had, and you know, jump if you have to jump over the fence, or you want as much length as you can. So.
And he might jump over the fence. He is super utility, man. That means first base here, too. Yeah. This is borrowed from Ricky Oropesa, actually. But look at this big guy. And this is because you got to scoop the ball out of the dirt at times.
Yeah, this one's just the way it's shaped and everything is
sand wedge effect right here.
Yeah, is made for scooping. So just another thing, another large mitt that just hopefully you catch the ball and do everything you can to get it in that pocket. So
you'll notice when you're a super utility, folks, you cannot have any commitment to a particular type of glove. We've got Rawlings, we've got Wilson, we've got a couple others, and right here, my friend, we've got a pitcher's mitt. The Giants have not let us see you use that in game action, but we know that you can bring it if you need to.
Yeah, excuse me, I try, and you know, I pitched a lot in college and pitched my whole life until I signed here, and you know, I think in San Jose, Zambrano got to pitch. I was on the DL, so I had to, and then last year Stromsmo got to pitch a lot, and I just haven't been fortunate enough to get in there. And
well, Rando Moreno has actually already pitched as well this year, so maybe this is the year for Myles. Not going to be using this, though. He's going to be using all those. We play Where's Myles nightly at the Diamond. Myles, thanks for being here, buddy. Our James Limousine Luxury Player of the Week.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
In baseball, we love cliches. As we know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It all evens out over the course of a season, and success is contagious, and so on and so on. Well, the Squirrels were clinging to just about all of those cliches and then some, while they shattered the franchise record for consecutive losses, dropping 15 straight. But here's the thing. Those are all also true of this year's Squirrels. Would you have believed me if I had told you the Squirrels were going to lose 15 in a row? Would you have thought I was insane if I then told you that the team would win their next 6 straight? All of those victories, by the way, over the first-place club in the division at the time. Probably not, because I wouldn't have believed it myself. And now, of course, we know that was precisely what was going to happen. Which leads me to another baseball cliche, yes, another, that I found myself repeating frequently throughout the first month of streaks. When things are going well for a ball club, they are never actually as invincible as they believe. And the converse of that is most definitely true. When a team is struggling, it is never actually as bad as it may appear. Also, probably a good reminder for our daily lives. Don't get too high, folks, and certainly don't ever get too low. Tomorrow might be bringing exactly the opposite of today. And that's why we stay tuned, because as we now know, the season has only just begun. That's all the time we have for today. For everyone here at FSI, I'm John Laser saying thanks for watching. We'll see you at the ballpark.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
The smell of natural gas escaping is a pungent odor like rotten eggs, a bad smell for a really good reason, your safety. If you ever smell the strong rotten egg odor of natural gas, leave the area, go where the smell is no longer present, and call 911.
and James Limousine, driven to serve Richmond for 22 years. JamesLimousine.com, 804-273-1540.